These are the notes that go with section 3.5 in your book, and this is about adding functions. Now, you learned about adding functions in this section using two methods, algebraically and graphically. We're going to look at the algebraic method first. In the algebraic method, you're given algebraic formulas for the functions. So you see here we have an a of x function and a b of x function, and then they tell us that we want this new function, c of x, and that it needs to equal the function a of x plus b of x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually substitute, replace a of x with what I know a of x equals. So here is a of x, and here is also a of x. So now I can replace a of x with 3x minus 10. And I'm going to do that same exact thing for b of x. Here's b of x, and then they tell me that b of x is negative 2x plus 4. So then I replace b of x with negative 2x plus 4. And now I simplify this expression so that my x's are combined and my constants are combined. And I have completed the task of adding these functions algebraically. Now, our second way of adding functions is graphically. In a graph, I'm not given an equation. I'm just given a picture. However, I do have individual points. So when it says graph h of x, where that is f of x plus g of x, what that essentially means is I want to add some y's. F of x are y values and g of x are y values. So I'm going to take these two values right here. I see that this one is positive 1, and this one down here is negative 4. So I am going to add 1 plus negative 4, and that equals negative 3. So I'm going to put a dot right here at negative 3. I then maybe will add these two. This is a value of 2. This is a value of negative 3. So now I have 2 plus negative 3 equals negative 1. So I put a dot right there. And then maybe it'll be nice to have one more just to kind of make sure that that shape is going really well. So I will find these y values, 5, negative 5. So I have 5 plus negative 5 equals 0. And so I have equals 0. And I now can connect these three dots and label this h of x. Now, a couple of important things to note here. One of the important things to note here is that each and every time where I put my final point lined up where my points were along an x line. So these values right here of 1 plus negative 4 went with an x value of 0. And these values went with an x value of negative 2. And these values went with an x value of negative 3. So that I could have written these, as for h of x, I could have said, well, h of 0 is negative 3. I could have said f of 0 equaled 1, and g of 0 equaled negative 4. so that the x that I'm plugging into each of these gives me a y, and that the resulting h of 0 is my f of 0 and g of 0 added together. So this is this line written out with some more detail.